Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey Ryan.
Hey guys, doing good.
Hi,
How about
Laura.
yourself?
Good to see
Good.
you. So I'm going to interview you all and ask you a few questions about what you and we all have learned along the way in owning multiple fitness locations. And I think people listening in, whether they have one location or multiple locations, will be able to learn a lot from you all and the conversation today. But anyway, if I could hear from you all first, tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do with the Pure Bars.
Okay, so I'm Rob Kirstner. We're in Carlsbad, California. This is my wife, Kristen, obviously, and we own 6 Pure Bars. We started off with one in early 2020, and then acquired 4 more, and then the sixth one last year. And yeah, so it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun doing this with you all. And, I was kind of curious to know, just for the sake of people listening in, what are some of the things that either you, Rob, or maybe both of you have noticed that it takes to go from owning one location and running one well to being able to manage multiple locations? Like, what's one or two things that stand out to you guys?
Processes.
Hmm.
Yeah, you definitely have to have some good processes in place to be able to handle that type of volume. But really, the key above that in anything else, I think, is you have to have really good people. Like you have to have a really good team, somebody that is, in my case, like my right hand man, somebody that I can trust with the business, and somebody who has my best interest. Like that's just mandatory. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it said that you could take over the world with five good people, and it's hard to find that.
Yeah.
Well, Kristen, I'm curious to hear from you. What have you seen? I know you've been involved in the process all along the way, and you've seen Rob hiring and transitioning people out and moving people around from one position to another. What was that like for you all, and what are some takeaways you had in that process?
I would say it was a huge learning process, a very steep learning curve. I mean, I just thought after we went to owners training with the franchise that it would be all dialed in and everything they said was going to work exactly. And it's really been kind of the opposite, to say the least, that after we learned that those plans that they had in place were not working, then it was great to see Rob and his right hand man and our sales director really put processes in place and put standard operating procedures in place, SOPs. Those were huge. And so we just had to recreate the wheel, which I mean, I would almost love to share now what we did so somebody else doesn't have to go through what we did so they could just be off and running.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's huge. Rob brought up processes and you brought up needing to develop beyond just the basic playbook that a franchise gives you. And it's been really fun being involved with you all on that front and walking through some of those things with you. Just curious to hear from you guys. I know some of the people who are watching this are going to be considering, well, does it make sense to work with Laura and Ryan? Should I get their help with bringing more people in through the doors? And the marketing piece, the follow-up piece, bringing people in. I think a lot of people know that about what we do, but what we don't talk a lot about is our involvement in the other side of things and helping owners develop systems for operating multiple locations well. Um, could you fill us in a little bit on what your experience has been like and the kind of things that we've gotten into along the way? I guess, how long has it been since we've been working together?
I was like 20,
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ryan, you've been instrumental in this entire process. So when I talk about having a good right hand man, um, I'm really about two things. So one is from an operational standpoint, so Marco is my main guy, right? Like he's our director of operations. He started off as a teacher, an assistant manager, then a manager, then regional, and then the director in charge of everything. But the other part of it has been my relationship with you. There is no way that I would have ever gone from 1 to 6 without knowing you. I just felt like I had my little genie in the bottle, with in you and Laura also, but really you and I, right? Like we talk all the time. You're the one that has actually like come into the studios and helped teach sales and management and just customer interaction, all those things that are key to a business, just being a sign out front that people, will come in and out of, as opposed to a thriving business that members love and are engaged with. And that creates community and stuff like that is so important. And knowing that I have your expertise, all of your years of gym membership sales experience and management experience has really been instrumental for me to push myself and have the courage to grow the way that we have. I mean, because going from 1 to 6 is rapid expansion. And I don't know if I would recommend it for anyone. But
or not during COVID.
Yeah. But definitely there's something good about expansion and scaling your business. And you've just played an important part of it. And I just have amazing peace of mind knowing that I can call you up or set up a meeting with you anytime I need to and go over something and strategize. And like Kristen said, like, she's a bit dramatic when she says like, we bought a Pure Barre and nothing was what it was supposed to be. Like, that's the reason you buy a franchise, so that they have systems in place, right? So that you can kind of follow the plan and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So that was there, that was in place and stuff. But doing it during COVID was a completely different situation. Like, that was a whole nother set of circumstances that we had to navigate. And I don't think we could have done that without you, and certainly couldn't have grown our business the way that we have. And then bounce back and come out of COVID the way that we have. I mean, we had gyms that had 50, 40 members at the worst point in COVID. And now we have, that same gym has 200 members or 180 members. So that has been just amazing.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah. And it's been fun for us, working with you all and seeing everything that you're doing over there in those locations. And I think you're right. When you say that, during the pandemic, all bets were off, like nobody had systems or processes for that.
Right.
But it was tremendous to see you lean in, grab all the resources that you needed and get those studios to stop going the wrong direction. I think a lot of people don't realize how much effort it takes to turn the momentum around, or let alone just to stop the momentum going the wrong way. It takes a ton of effort. And so for any other owners of boutique gyms or fitness studios who are listening to this later on, if you have stopped the momentum going in the wrong direction and you stopped the loss, you've stopped the attrition, and you're holding steady, that's a tremendous undertaking. You've already accomplished a very tremendous thing that many people fail to accomplish.
Yeah.
Next step is obviously turning the momentum around in the other direction and getting it moving in the right way. But
the cool thing about this partnership, that we have with you guys and the coaching that you do and the guidance you give us is not only are you an expert in sales, but Laura is another genie in the bottle in the marketing department. And it's like, sometimes like the sales thing is working, like the pitch is working, our close ratio is good and stuff, but then all of a sudden the leads are starting to fall off. And so we go to Laura and like, what can we change, right? Like Laura is constantly behind the scenes. I use another analogy, the Wizard of Oz, behind the curtain, right? Pulling the strings and stuff and moving things around, making adjustments to our ads. Like I've talked to so many other Pure Barre owners, and that's not going on with the other typical marketing companies, at least in my opinion, from what I've heard and seen from people, where you guys are constantly adjusting the ads and making changes to fine tune it and, increase an offer here or decrease something over there, and change all the other little parameters that you guys use. And so I love the collaboration between you two, because I usually go to you, Ryan. and say, hey, dude, like, this is what's going on. What do we do? And then a lot of times you go, we need to get with Laura and talk to her about this, And so it's cool to know that you guys like work together in the background and talk about and help us run and manage our business and optimize all of those things that are going on, from sales to marketing to operations. So I really find tremendous value in them.
That's why we call Laura Dr. Laura.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And one thing I love about working with you guys, I think a lot of gym owners can probably learn from, is just your tenacity. Like, I so respect that, whether it's like a slower month or whatever it is, like, you guys have not taken your foot off the gas once. There's no like, okay, we're just going to hunker down and get through the storm. You're like, we're going to keep pressing on, which I think is a really big reason why you've been able to see such success and see, look back at March 2020 and, through the pandemic, and see where we are now. Because you guys you're just willing to weather the seasons, and you're willing to do whatever it takes, which makes it fun on our end. It gives us a lot to work with when you're like, okay, we're ready to keep going. Like, November, December might be tough, but what do we do? And we're like, yes, if you guys are in it, like, we're in it too. So it makes us really excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Laura. That's sweet.
To get to work through those seasons together.
Yeah.
Can I go back to processes for 1 second?
Yeah, for sure.
Ryan, I always think about, you guys have your Monday calls, and that's, again, one of the processes, right? You have very systematic calls with the team. And I can remember a call and everybody was so excited that we got X amount of numbers that month for members. And you're like, but you had this amount of attrition, and it just wasn't something we had focused on before, because all we could think about was getting, members up and running.
Yeah.
And then, so you taught us how to work on that. And so you just always know how to take that little piece of what needs to be fixed that we're all not seeing. And you're like, okay, now we got to work on this, and here's how to work on it. And that's been huge progress for us.
Yeah. If I could add on to that. Okay. So what then also comes with that is Ryan is always the voice of reason, because I am not the most patient person, and I'm not the most soft-spoken, eloquent person. And I, have, let's just say, 80 employees and 79 are females. So I'm kind of a bull in a china shop. And you have really helped me to become much better at how I communicate with people in my business. Because I came from a construction background. I used to build custom swimming pools for the last 25 years. So I'm used to dealing with guys out on the job site. And I'm very direct with them. So, you can't quite be that way in a Pure Barre studio. And so, yeah, you're really good at that, Ryan. You're really good at working with different personalities and coaching the person on how to also be a great owner and manager. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Look where Marco is today. And we're not working together to make him such an effective manager. And now he knows how to troubleshoot and really keep all the wheels running smoothly.
Yeah, it's awesome to see team members developing like that and getting to a place where they're able to become fairly well autonomous. At the end of the day, I think it's rare to see a fitness business that's been owned by one person that lasts a decade or more. It's very uncommon. And the reason for that is actually what you all are bringing up. Not a lot of people are excellent at developing systems and processes. The second thing is, if there's an area like a blind spot in a business, even if an owner knows how to develop systems and processes, there are areas of their business that they can't see very well without outside input. I think about my own life. I have people that provide outside input because there are places that I would miss. And then thirdly, what you all have done with Marco, and it's been beautiful to support you in that, but you ultimately have mentored him into a place where he's an excellent leader now, right? And he's not the only one. There are other people in the business who you've developed to a similar point of autonomy. And I think that when you can do those things, when you can develop processes, when you can observe your blind spots, and when you can develop leaders, that's what creates a business that's able to run without your time and effort. That's where you can have a gym or several gyms that you're able to manage remotely, or a group of studios that have leaders in place for that thing to continue to run for months while you're doing other things. And ultimately, I see that that's a big piece that's missing in the industry. But I know what
Yeah.
a lot of people are on this call for is how can I get more people in through the doors? And I think that what you're talking about, Kristen, earlier with the sales processes and then moving on to retention processes and then developing leaders from there, the first step for a lot of people comes with having adequate traffic flow. And once you have enough people in through the doors, then you can say, okay, what can I do to improve the conversion of those opportunities? And then so on and so forth until you get to the point where you have a business like yours, where you all are able to do things besides being in the business day in and day out, which is pretty beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's going back to Dr. Laura then, of generating those leads silently. It's amazing how that's done with the existing databases that, came with the studios.
Yeah, that was a huge win for us because, you can spend lots of money on social media advertising, and you need to. Like, you have to understand that that's part of your business, and you can't look at it like, well, we don't have enough members and enough revenue to be able to afford to advertise. Well, then you better not be in the gym business. Like, you have to spend money advertising, and then the members and the revenue come later. So you have to be able to invest in yourself. But this was brilliant, how you revealed to us the database reactivation theory or strategy. And that's been that's probably doubled our amount of leads that we get on a monthly basis, because that is so effective, going back into our database and approaching those people with different offers to get them back in the studio, and then that converts into memberships.
Yeah, I think that's a weakness out there in the world. A lot of, marketing companies focus on just acquiring leads, right? And that's what we've done differently. We're interested in membership growth. If it's not resulting in net membership growth at the end of the month, then we feel that we haven't done our job. It's not about producing leads. It's not even about producing people in through the doors. It's about producing conversion and increased retention that results in net membership growth. And because of that, we bring people in through the doors by generating new leads and booking them with appointments, but also by waking up the old leads, increasing member referrals, and increasing the organic opportunities. So I think that that's a takeaway for anybody who's watching this later. If you're interested in having more members, it's not just about leads. These days, the cost per lead is so volatile, and it can be, and it's not getting better, right? Like, it's not going to suddenly become cheaper.
Right.
So in order to have a moat around your business, a business that has the ability to survive for the long haul and ultimately grow to serve the owner instead of just requiring energy from the owner, a business should serve the owner and the community. That's all. We could talk about that all day. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, we haven't even talked about it. So then you get the leads, then you get the people out of the database that are like, hey, they raised their hand, I'm interested. Then how do you deal with that? Like, your system, again, just kind of blew my mind with how effective it is at actually handling those leads and interacting with the people via text with a live person, and having a real conversation, and not some automated bot that's giving kind of canned responses based on what their response is. So that interaction that you guys provide in your texting software is priceless. I mean, that's cutting edge, because just because you get a lead, because you spent the money, that, like, okay, that's the start. But then they need to be a person that shows up in the studio that you can then put in a class and give them the opportunity to become a member. So you guys are really good at that, of converting those leads into actual people in the studio. So
Thank you.
Super thankful for that part of it.
Yeah. And I think that's an excellent takeaway for the other owners watching this as well, right? The first one is have a holistic approach to generating leads, and you've got to do it from multiple sources to have stability. Secondly is, like you said, Rob, a lead doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is a person who actually comes in through the doors and joins. And the follow-up piece, most people don't realize this, but we get like usually a 3 to 5x booking ratio compared to what the average gym or studio owner can do on their own. And the reason for that is because we found that if you can follow up with a lead within the first 5 minutes or less, you can reliably just about triple the booking ratio compared to if you follow up with the average lead within an hour. So that would be a huge takeaway for anyone who's listening to this. finding a way to have instant follow-up with every lead will at least triple the bang for the buck that you get from the leads that you're generating.
Yeah, it's imperative in this day and age. I mean, I know myself, if I opt into something, I see some offer, whatever, and I don't get engagement, I'm like on to the next, or I forget about it. By the time they get back to you an hour later, an hour today is like a century.
Yeah.
Might as well be a week later, right?
Might as well.
People want instant gratification. Like, you got them right now. They said yes. Like, you need to engage with them right now. If you don't do that, then you're wasting your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can't just be during the working hours. It's got to be mornings, during the day, during the evening, on the weekends. And, Laura leads the team that produces those booked appointments. So she knows a lot about booking appointments and bringing people in through the doors. But, I have one final question left, but I just wanted to check in with you or you guys and see if there's any other topics we should cover before my last question. Any other thoughts?
I was going to say one thing about Laura, not only generating the leads, but booking the appointments, again, via some of those Monday strategizing, how you guys then implemented our foundation classes. And then Laura was able to put those leads, booked appointments specifically in those foundation appointments. So then we made sure we had ample coverage for when those people got out of their classes. So again, I guess I just go back to processes again. I mean, it's just been such a great team effort with you guys really getting our systems in place.
Thank you so much. Well, you all have shared some really good knowledge from owners who have multiple locations, shared some about your process. So I really appreciate that. And I know everyone listening will get a lot out of that. And, just for the people who are watching this later on, there will be some people watching this who are like, I wonder if I should start working with Ryan and Laura. I need more people in through the doors. Is this a good move or not? For someone who's watching this, considering that, would you all have any feedback for them on how to sort through that decision and what to do?
Yeah, I definitely would. It's a big decision, and to work with somebody that's a professional, an expert in your field, it's going to cost some money. It's going to require an investment. And for a lot of gym owners, like, we don't like to spend money on stuff that is like, on the surface seems a little bit intangible, because it's like, is this going to really work? Like, I've talked to so many people who make all these promises. I would just say that you guys are so worth the investment. Your service and the amount of love and care that you put into your business is just, it's priceless. And I feel so fortunate to do this with you guys. And like I said, I would not be in this business with 6 of these studios if it wasn't for you guys. There's no way, right? I've told you that. I even called you up and asked you. I said, I have the opportunity to grow the business and get another studio or another 4 studios. Like, can we do this? Are you guys in? Right? Because I said, I wouldn't do this. If you said no, then I'm like, it's a no. Like, I don't want to do this on my own. And you guys provide just so much guidance and support and all the stuff that comes along in your system and your coaching and stuff like that, that I just think is just priceless. So I would encourage somebody to do it, obviously.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it's been really good spending this time with you all. I know you're busy people, but you guys are champions. We love working with you.
Yeah.
If I could find 5 more Robs in the world, then I wouldn't even look for any more clients, or I wouldn't look for anybody else to partner with in business, right? That's how that back to that original quote, right? Like, if you could just find 5 good people, hard thing to do these days, but obviously they exist. So we're really grateful to be able to work with you on this and support you in this. And we'll look forward to talking with you sometime soon.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We love you guys. We love working with you guys. Really appreciate your time.
Bye, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Ryan. Bye, Laura.
Bye.